Okay, so on today's episode of Running with the Pack, we are doing... Wait, what? Wait, we're doing that? Why are we doing 2020 NASCAR predictions here in early January? I mean, come on, Chili Bowl hasn't even happened yet. No, that's happening later this week. We can talk about that. No? Okay. So I guess we're doing 2020 NASCAR playoff predictions here in early January. This will be fun. So let's get right into it.
And the 3-car makes contact with the 66. They're going to be bumper to bumper, side by side, at the line. 77 wins it.
The 31 wins it.
Dodge Dakota is your Fire Cup Series champion.
So for the round of 16, we're going to be announcing these, or at least revealing my picks here in bursts of 4 picks per clip here. So I'm going to lead off probably first 4. Not going to really be any real surprise here. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski. I'm going to put those 4. Now this is in no particular order, but yeah, those 4 I'd say fairly unlikely that any of them are really going to skip a beat and miss the playoffs after making virtually every playoff in recent memory. I can't think of the last time any one of those guys missed the postseason. You'd probably have to look back to like Kyle Busch's Hendrick days or something, or maybe RCR 2007 for Kevin Harvick missing the playoffs. But yeah, so I'd say those 4 picks though, fairly solid picks here for the beginning of the list. The crew chief swaps around. I still think Jeremy Bullins is going to be able to make the playoffs with Brad Keselowski. Joey Logano's got at least an even swap in crew chief, if not a slight upgrade. Now, not dissing Todd Gordon at all, but just saying that I think that those 4 right there are probably pretty easy locks for the playoffs. But of course, that's the first 4. That's usually the easiest part of the list to do. Once we get down here a little bit lower, that's where you guys are probably going to be debating with me. But I guess it's time we announce the next 4. So my next 4 picks my next 4 that I'm going to make this playoffs and basically going to fill out 5 through 8. Not necessarily in any particular order once again, but I'm going to put Ryan Blaney in there with the rest of his Penske guys. MTJ, Denny Hamlin. I'd say those are all fairly solid locks. And then another one, let's go with Eric Jones, since I think he's fairly solid at making the playoffs. He had a solid run going until, of course, round of 16 has been absolutely tragic to him. And he's been able to pick up wins early on in the playoffs, but he really hasn't been not early in the playoffs, but early on in the season, so that he didn't have to worry about points to make the playoffs. But I'd say I'm going to put Eric Jones in there. He's going to be one of the guys I'm going to bank on making the championship, or into the championship fight. The 16 drivers going for this championship. That basically rounds out the rest of your Penske guys and the rest of your Joe Gibbs Racing guys. So I think those guys, I'd say Eric Jones probably the only debatable one there, but I'd say still fairly solid looking list over there. So yeah, I guess we're going to have to see what else comes from here, because from here on down, I'm pretty sure most of the drivers you guys should be able to at least predict some of the guys further on down here in the list. And then there's going to be some debates down in like the bottom 2 or 3. Although, again, no particular order. Oh, whoa, I almost forgot. Chase Elliott definitely needs to be on that list. Chase Elliott, going to make the playoffs. That's almost a guarantee. He's made it. He's been almost to the championship for the last couple of years. He's a really solid driver. He isn't going to miss these playoffs. So he'll probably win Watkins Glen again and guarantee it. Even if he doesn't have a win at that point in the season, he'll get Watkins Glen almost assured. So, Chase Elliott, I'm going to say William Byron. He'll either win a race or he'll be consistent enough to make the playoffs. I mean, he almost won Martinsville earlier this year, or at the end of the last season. So maybe he wins the first Martinsville race, the Martinsville night race, and gets the win there. Maybe, especially if he has anywhere near as good a car as and as good a skill as he had at Martinsville in the fall playoff race. But I guess we'll have to see. So that puts 2 Hendrick guys in there. And then I'm going to actually put in a pair of rookies here in the next 2. And rookies typically have not been known for making the playoffs, but we have a heavy Rookie of the Year battle here coming going on, and I think the Rookie of the Year battle is going to involve the playoffs. But I'm going to put Christopher Bell and Tyler Reddick onto that list as well. Two fairly heavyweights in the Rookie of the Year battle, and I think, to be honest, they're probably the two favorited rookies of the... Well, to be honest, all three of the big three from Xfinity last year are going to be pretty strong. But I'm going to put right now, in this burst of form, putting in those two in particular, because I think Tyler Reddick, he already has a top 10 in Cup in only 2 Cup starts, and Christopher Bell's just been so consistent across everything he's raced, except for at Homestead. Like, Homestead's been the one place that's really stumped him, especially in actual cars, not necessarily the trucks. But, so I'm going to say, though, that he'll find a way to point his way in, especially with that extra Joe Gibbs alliance there from that 95. But I'd say that's probably... You can debate Christopher Bell there again. He might be debatable, but I think Tyler Reddick, he'll either win a race or he'll just top 5 and top 10 the field to death to get in, because he is pretty solid a driver, and I think he will be a contender in the playoffs as well. And it's time to make some enemies here, because we are going through the final 4 drivers that are going to make my 16 driver playoff prediction here. So I am going to put in the final 4 that I'm going to put in. These aren't necessarily the bottom 4, but these are some of the more unlikely drivers to get in. I am going to put Jimmy Johnson. I think Jimmy Johnson is going to get in either with a surprise win or basically a final a tie-breaking win there, because I know he's currently tied with, I think it's Yarborough, which that'd be awesome to see him get that one, to be able to break that tie. But also, I think he could also potentially just be consistent enough to make the playoffs. Then I'm also going to put, on this list, I'm going to put Cole Custer in there. He's in a Stewart-Haas ride. I think that Stewart-Haas car is capable of making the playoffs, and he's got the most momentum on his side for making this one. Then I'm also going to put into the playoffs, I'm going to put... Oh, hey, Matt DiBenedetto. Hey, come on in here. You're a Penske car. I almost forgot you when I said that we had the Penske cars there. So Matt DiBenedetto, he'll probably win one of the super speedway races or Bristol. I mean, he almost had Bristol won last year. He was really good in the Daytona 500 before the big wreck. He's been pretty good at the other super speedways, plus Ford having probably the best super speedway package. In particular, Penske being really good at Daytona Talladega 4 years. So I'd say Matt DiBenedetto, solid pick to make the 16 driver playoffs. And then, yeah, here's where I'm going to make a lot of people a little upset, I feel like. I'm going to put... I mean, I literally didn't think of one beforehand, but I think probably the most likely, just kind of from knowing where most of the guys are currently, I think the most likely driver is probably Eric Almirola to get in, actually. I think he both is the most consistent of the drivers I have yet to name to get on into the playoffs, as he was able to point his way in last year, and he was also... He's also shown that he's got the ability to win in the moment. So I think the 10 car and Eric Almirola get back to the playoffs, but that's, I think, another one where it's going to be, I mean, Boyer probably could very easily get put in there if you want to put Boyer over Almirola, but I think I'm going to put Almirola in there as my final one. I hadn't actually picked between those two, but I think 3 Haas cars making the playoffs, that seems fairly realistic. 3 Hendrick cars making it. The 4 Gibbs cars plus Levine Family Racing. The 3 Penskes plus Matt DiBenedetto. That all seems pretty solid. I think drivers that are going to be... Now, this is some of the notables that are going to miss the playoffs. Clint Boyer, Of course, he's very solid driver as well. I just think that this year's rookie class is gonna be able to basically bump some of the older guys that are good but not great at this point out of the playoffs. I mean, there's so many good drivers that it's like, but yeah, Bowman missing the playoffs. I mean, I think his nickname prior to Chicagoland last year is going to come into play. I think average Bowman, he'll be average. Problem is that you're going to need to be you're going to need to be absolutely fantastic to make these playoffs this year. Now, some of the other ones, like Corey LaJoie, I think he might have a shot at a top 10. I actually don't have a Roush car making the playoffs. I thought I might put one of the Roush cars in, but again, just the raised level of competition, Roush car just didn't fit in my thing. But Buescher and Newman, I think, could both make it. Stenhouse could probably get in with a win. Ryan Preece definitely is going to be in a building year, so he could potentially do something, but those are just some of the notables that are not going to make the playoffs on my list. But there is my list of 16, and, well, I guess, we got to cut it down to 12 now? Okay, well, let me go back to the drawing board, and I'll figure out who we're taking off this list. But yeah, so we'll be back in just one second. I just need to go figure out what I'm going to do with this list over here. So, after going through that round of 16, which is probably going to be the bulk of this video, let's start chopping off some names. I've gone through and I've chopped off some names. I've a lot of great drivers going home. And let's just say that a lot of this is based on their past performance, as I don't really know how they're going to handle the 2020. 2020 is going to be very similar to 2019. And yeah, let's just see the update. So yeah, that's a lot of hits to a couple of big powerhouses. That's 2 SHR cars gone and 2 Gibbs cars gone. If you guys didn't notice, who the 4 that are gone from that list is, we are now down Denny Hamlin, Eric Jones, Eric Almirola, so both Eric's gone, and Cole Custer are my 4 that I think are going to go home. Or not going to go home, they're going to still be racing, but are going to be out of the playoffs here at the end of the first round. Cole Custer, it comes down to inexperience. I think, despite he and Bell are on the same level experience-wise, I think Bell's track record in Richmond just kind of gives me the more confidence in him to advance. So the guys that are still there, I think that's the big reason I put Bell in over Cole Custer. Eric Jones, he just gets unlucky every year, it seems like, and I basically had Blaney getting through because I think he might be able to survive, especially with Todd Gordon atop the pit box. And then we had Eric Almirola, who is typically, I'd say he's probably he was kind of that last guy. It took me a while. You saw it in the first clip. It took me a while to figure out where he was gonna, if he was gonna be the one that I put in there, because there were a lot of good drivers that didn't make the list. So I think Eric Almirola going home, as unfortunate as it is, I think that's fair for, his talent level and what he's shown between him and Johnny Klossmeyer, the crew chief over there, for that number 10 car. I think that's right about where the Haas cars are going to end up. So there will only be 1 Haas car and 2 Gibbs cars making it past this round that are in-house versions of those teams. But I still think, all in all, I think overall, I'd say that those 4 probably aren't that hot of takes, except for the fact that Denny Hamlin did do phenomenal in 2019. My reasoning for having him miss the playoffs, or miss the next round of the playoffs as opposed to him advancing, is both the competition level being raised, plus the shake-up to the schedule. Darlington, not necessarily one of his best tracks, despite he does have a Darlington Southern 500 trophy. He did win at Bristol, but I'm actually thinking that DiBenedetto might get Bristol this year. And then Richmond, I mean, Joe Gibbs Racing's been good at Richmond, but having one or two good races, one bad race can put you out, especially in this competitive of a field. I think it will come down to Darlington for Denny Hamlin making it or not making it into the next round. So that's going to be my bold pick for this one. So just so you guys can see real quick who I eliminated. Here's the graphic real quick of who all was eliminated and where they were when I introduced them, like just kind of the order I introduced them in. As I said, it wasn't in any particular order, and it still really isn't in any particular order. But like the bottom four aren't the four that I'm knocking out. I mean, Denny Hamlin was all the way up there in like the second batch I introduced. He was in the first 8 I introduced, and he's already gone. Actually, he and Eric were both up there in the first 8 that I introduced. So clearly, I wasn't just going down the list and ranking them. So yeah, I've got to go back I've got to go back to the drawing board again to go erase some more. Okay, well, let's go figure out where I'm gonna put which 4 I'm going to have to eliminate next to get us to the round of 8. Okay, so here is where my list gets slightly more controversial, but hopefully still reasonable. So, my 8, making this championship, or making it to the next round of the championship, we have got Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, same guys that have been up at the top most of the video, as along with MTJ. No. Ryan Blaney I have making it through mainly just because of his stats of the fact that he's won at 2 of the last 2 years he's won at 2 of the tracks in the round at 8. Plus his team has been pretty good at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway at times, so I think most importantly though is going to be him performing at Talladega and the Roval, which I know he didn't necessarily perform great there in 2019, but in 2018, in 2019 he did perform pretty well at the Talladega race. He always performs pretty well at Talladega. But importantly, Roval, he was able to win it in 2018, which appears like it's going to be the aero package. We don't even know what the aero package is going to be on the short tracks. But from what we know, it's going to be fairly similar to 2018, so I think Blaney winning the Roval race could be a thing. We could see him win the Roval 2 out of the 3 years, so I'd say that's going to be a fun one to see if that one. I think that's probably if something busts this list and it wasn't Denny Hamlin, I think it's going to be Ryan Blaney here. But then I've also got to mention Chase Elliott and Matt DiBenedetto also making it through. Matt DiBenedetto, he is great on road courses, great on super speedways. Kind of a lot of the reasons I put him in the playoffs in the first place is a lot of the reasons I think he can make it to the round of 8. Ryan Blaney was able to do it with that team back in 2017, so Matt DiBenedetto, I think he is going to have a very similar year to Ryan Blaney in 2017, so yeah, but look at those ones though. Chase Elliott making it through, that's fairly solid. I think out of my picks, I think probably still Ryan Blaney is the one that might get eliminated out of these ones. But the 4 guys that I had getting eliminated are Christopher Bell, Tyler Reddick, who neither one of them are particularly like road course aces, especially from their Xfinity Series time, but they were both still pretty solid drivers. Jimmy Johnson, I think his title, I think chasing 8, not going to happen. So just going to end that here. I don't think Jimmy Johnson's going to get number 8, but I think he will make a solid run at it. But he won't be able to get the number 8. And then, of course, the final one that I had to cut from the list was also William Byron, purely off of the fact that I don't necessarily see him as a he was pretty good at Roval, but his stats at Talladega and Las Vegas in particular, again, kind of one bad race can really hurt your chance of advancing. So I think all in all, it's going to be pretty much perform or go home in this round, and I just don't see the stats that show that William Byron's gonna be able to win at the Roval in a very pressure-packed situation. Now, he very easily could, and he could make it to the next round, but I'm gonna put him on the outside looking in for this one, along with Jimmy Johnson. He, of course, did really well at Roval 2017, or not 2017, 2018 Roval. And of course he choked it away on that one, and I think he's going to be even more pressure. I think he's just not going to be able to pull it off. So, but don't worry, Jimmy fans, he does get a round of 12 appearance, which is exactly what he did in 2017. So at least it's a solid thing. And hey, maybe he'll outperform what I think, and he'll go and get 8. But this is so far what my prediction for the championship is so far. And oh, wait, we're going all the way to Homestead, or all the way to Phoenix already? Wait, what? Okay, you really want me to go take these you want me to go take that list that you have right over there to your side and chop it in half again? Okay, guys, so I guess we're gonna have to go and chop that down to only 4 guys and figure out who the 4 competing at Phoenix for the championship are. But yeah, that's gonna take a lot of configuring to try and figure out who makes it in, who doesn't make it in. But I'm gonna try my best here, guys. Okay, guys, I absolutely tried. I used up every page in my notebook, but I think I have finally come up with the championship 4 from that pick of 8, and let's just say that it's a lot of the guys you probably expected, but I wasn't initially expecting it to be these 4 when I first started working on it. I knew 2 of the 4, I'll be honest. I knew 2 of the 4 before I started making the list. But those final 2 slots, I mean, I went through pretty much every page here in my notebook. And let's just say that Kevin Hart and Kyle Busch, I knew those 2 were pretty much locks for this one, especially if they made it to the round of 8. And then, if we keep looking over there, oh, hey, look, we got Chase Elliott, Joey Logano as the other 2. So that means that Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, and Matt DiBenedetto are the 4 guys eliminated in the round of 8 across Kansas, Texas, and Martinsville. And those 4 are going to be the 4 racing for the championship at Homestead. So, I think overall, I mean, my thing is Martin Truex Jr., without his previous crew chief, I think he'll still be competitive. I think he'll still make the round of 8. I just can't rely on him to make the championship 4. Matt DiBenedetto, great team. Don't know if they've got it at Martinsville, Texas, or Kansas to really upset and run well enough to advance. Still probably could, but I think it's going to be a lot like Ryan Blaney in 2017. We'll do really well, but we'll just kind of be outmatched come round of 8, equipment-wise. And Ryan Blaney, I think, once again, great improvement from last year to this year. Well, I say great improvement. He made the round of 8 last year, but I think he's going to make the round of 8 a lot more confidently this time as opposed to last year. But he will still come up short of the championship 4, and I think Chase Elliott will finally get to go to the championship 4. Once again, I think the crew chief swap will hurt. If it's going to hurt someone, I think the crew chief swap at Penske is going to hurt Brad and help Joey the most of them. Although I think Blaney with his new crew chief might be able to make it a little closer. I think Logano is probably going to end up being the best Penske driver next year, and that's why I have him making the championship 4 over his 2 teammates. But still, 3 Penske, actually all 4 Penske cars, including that 21, made my round of 8. So, I mean, it's kind of like the Stewart-Haas situation from 2018. But now, oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You wanted me to pick a championship contender? Like, who I think's going to win the championship out of those 4 already? Don't you think that's a little bit early? Okay, well, I guess we gotta pick a championship. Out of those four, I know Harvick's numbers at not Homestead, but Phoenix are unbelievable. But since the repave and the reconfiguration, he hasn't been overly competitive and that much of a blowout for the competition. As where Kyle Busch has won on both configurations of Phoenix. Chase Elliott, he was competitive on the older Phoenix. Hasn't really lost too much of that in the new Phoenix, but there's definitely been some performance lost. And Joey Logano, I think, is just going to kind of be there. I don't think he's going to be a major threat for the title. I'm going to say Kyle Busch, guys. I know, not everybody's favorite, and I know a lot of people want it to be Chase Elliott, but I don't see Chase Elliott being able to clutch out the win at Phoenix, especially after seeing that he wasn't able to get it done in 2019 at Phoenix, and he wasn't really able to do it in 2018 at Phoenix either. In 2017 Phoenix, he was able to almost get there, but once again was outdone by a Joe Gibbs Toyota. That's most of the reason why I think Kyle Busch is going to be your champion. So hopefully I don't get too much hate for this one. It's my opinion. Feel free to let me know your guys' one, but oh my, this video took way too long to do, and it's way too early to tell, but let me know what you guys think of any of these brackets, and of course, let me know how badly it's going to be smashed as soon as it gets smashed, probably at Daytona when Ricky Stenhouse Jr. goes out, wins the Coke 400, and gets locked into the playoffs on the final race. But yeah, so hopefully you guys, though, did enjoy this video. If you guys did, feel free to hit the like button. Subscribe if you guys are new and haven't already. But this has been it from me, from Ryan, and this has been Running with the Pack. Thank you guys all for watching. Bye!